That's right, Joseph's the one paying for the rooms. You walk towards the saloon again, looking forward to having somewhere to rest. You don't remember the last time you actually stayed in a room somewhere. It was always a tent or just in your bedroll lying beneath the stars. You see Sheriff and Bartholomew standing on the porch of the saloon, talking intently, but can't pick up any clear words on the wind. Sheriff notices you both as you approach, patting Bartholomew in the back as he takes his leave back inside. Sheriff leaves the shade of the saloon's overhang, walking with purpose towards you both. The blue of the sky was starting to fade into oranges, pinks on the edges of the sparse and tiny clouds overhead. You both slow to stop as Sheriff approaches you quickly. The face approaching you was different from before, and you see Joseph's face fall a little. Sheriff came to a stop in front of you both, twisting the cane in the dirt a little. The old and frail figure standing in front of you was shaking a tad. You hear slow, deliberate breaths from the chest. The usual confidence and bluster off of Joseph dissipated under this new glare of Sheriff's. The new and sharp eyes unlike those you'd seen when you'd arrived. There was a tiredness in them, a fierce tiredness beneath which was a wild look you'd only seen in the eyes of the newly grieving. Gripping the cane, scaled knuckles turned white, Sheriff spoke in a low and calm voice. Yeah, I should have known. Thought maybe I was wrong this time. Y'all seem so, I don't know, like you should be here. Even so, I knew there was something off with what you were asking. Is everything all right, Sheriff? We're just going to see if we could stay at the saloon. Sheriff slammed the cane under the dirt with such force you feared it might crack the earth beneath. You know damn well things are not all right. I had a little chat with my friends around town, talking about the newcomers, what they'd been asking about. Just passing through town, give me a break. I should have known it was too good to be true. I know when I see the gold fever in them eyes. We're not here to cause trouble, Sheriff. We'll be on our way tomorrow morning. Really now, well. Sheriff reached a free hand behind and pulled an old revolver to point at you. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it once. I made a promise to protect this town and the people who live here, that I would do what was right by them. So both of you are going to turn tail and leave right now and you never come back. And if I ever see either of you heading this way again, I will shoot you dead before nary fur or feather cross that town line. You stood still next to Joseph, a small fear of walking, taking hold of you as you feel like the wind might knock you off your feet. Understood, Sheriff. Joseph started walking away, not stopping for you even as you stood there a moment longer, just to say one word. Sorry. You knew that didn't make up for it, but it was all you could muster from your tight throat. You turned quickly and walked away after Joseph with your head down, staring at your feet as they rhythmically sped one after another through the dust tracks of a town you couldn't come back to. Man, what happened to my found family? The climb back out the valley was quiet. The wind was the only noise to reach your ears, no words coming to pass between you and Joseph. Only the occasional meeting of the eyes when he looked to make sure you hadn't fallen behind. Those eyes, that face you had grown accustomed to so quickly to having at least the hint of a smile resting, was devoid of much emotion at all. He wasn't thinking about it, you felt, but to not think about it meant to not think at all. So he didn't. His limbs carrying him up the path, but no one was home. You understood, of course, much as you'd like to not think about it either, you couldn't ignore the small dread in your chest. Like it was in the cavities of your insides, seeping around between your organs, a creeping tar. Not a suffocating tar, just making you feel heavy and dense. If you stopped walking now, you don't know if it'd start again. The sun was starting to dip into the horizon when you'd reached your original meeting spot at the top of the cliff. Both your horses were lying in the long shadows of some rocky mounds, your own shadows stretching across the sand as you go to tend to them. You both hauled your belt rolls off and started to unpack them, giving the horses some water, sorting through your belongings. Still without a word, camp for the night quickly formed between you as you worked. Joseph had brought a thin metal stand with him to hang the cooking pot over and gently tossed you his book of matches as he erected it. You struck the match in a familiar fashion, placing it in the middle of a dried assortment, blowing gently to encourage the shy flame. Lifting your head back up from the budding fire, Joseph was having a little issue getting his stand to, stand. His face was still the same neutral, empty face from before, and you noticed a little catch on a joint that hadn't flipped properly. You brought your hand up to flick it out the way. Either the lurch of the stand falling into place or the momentary touch of your hand against him seemed to jolt Joseph out of his listless state. Thank you. A smile, just a small one, a weary and wary one, had returned to his face. You were glad to see it again. It was enough to make your chest a little lighter, the tar receding just a touch. The fire lit, a modest plume of smoke started billowing into the sky and scattering in the faded sunlight. Joseph got up momentarily to rummage in one of his saddlebags, coming back with a tin and some bundled cloth. I've got some beans, salt pork too. Not sure what you got with you. Oh right, yeah, hold on. You had plenty of water still, and if he was propping up the bulk of the meal, you had some molasses to add to. You brought them both over and let Joseph, sitting on his bedroll, he laid out now, take the reins. Wasn't really a two-person job. The beans gently cooking away now in the pot, he sat there, lazily stirring it with a spoon. You grabbed your bedroll, laid it out on the opposite side of the fire, squatting and dropping onto it with a thud, tucking your legs towards you. Resting your head on your knees, holding them in your arms. Oh, they're so cutesy! I love that. The two of you sat like this a short while, watching the pot steaming away, the orange flames licking the underside of the well-used metal. You found yourself thinking about what happened in Clemency without even realizing. The pang you felt in your stomach when Sheriff knew why you were there. The sharp chill that shot from your neck to your tail when the gun was pulled on you. You weren't scared of being shot, that wasn't it. That wasn't what set your palm into a cold sweat. Something else. Something about having to leave that town. Sorry for letting you do so much of the talking today. I'm more of the quiet type. Sure you figured that out already. He flashed you a weak but genuine smile. Not like I did as much good. It wasn't your fault, Joseph. Sheriff was paranoid and we were bound to be rumbled eventually. Besides, it doesn't really seem like there's any gold here, so we feel like setting up a new mining operation. Yep. Sure Black Vulture will love to hear that. Well, my fault, I'll say. He sighed, a sharp, exasperated exhale through his nose holes. One knee of his crossed legs, fidgeting and bouncing as he stirred the pot. You were a little taken aback that he seemed to be mocking what you said. Maybe it just wasn't what he wanted to hear right now. Still, you understood his frustration. What would your bosses think if we told them what this place was like? They even believe us. Sorry. You were snapped from your thoughts by his apology. Slightly guilty look in his face, knowing me must have seen that he hurt your feelings a little. You're right, it's not my fault exactly, but hell, this is a mess, Robin. His fidgeting was spreading, playing across the feathered fingers of his wings, his face, his eyes, his knees again. Like a ragtime tune was playing all across the inside of his body. What's he like? Black Vulture? He's his breathing was ragged too. You got onto your knees and reached your hand out into his that was stirring the spoon, even now, a gentle but firm grasp stopping its motion. Your eyes met over the cooking pot. He looked like he was seeing you again for the first time in a long time. Shaking in his hand came to a rest and relaxed in its vice grip on the long spoon as you held each other's gaze. Let go. I'm here. It's all right. He nodded a few times, taking his hand away, resting on his haunches, stretching his legs out. A few moments passed as Joseph regained his calm, laid-back demeanor. One leg still bounced a little, quick rhythm, tapping, dancing hall tune. It's a horse! The sun was almost gone now, the last dregs of its light in the desert turning everything in the distance a slight, dusty red. You could see the stars now as you looked up to the sky, the light continuing to fade. More and more points of light dotting their way to the east. You turned your eyes away from the sky when you heard the sound of a penknife flicking open. Oh, don't mind me none, just doing a little preening. He started taking the knife gently to his wing, very gently. Seemed to be scraping away older feathers while also opening new pin feathers scattered across the wing. Motions almost like shaving. Forgive me if I'm talking out of line, but why don't you use your beak for that? Oh, well, Mom always told us you don't use your beak for things around anyone other than family or lovers. It ain't polite. He seemed a little sheepish, admitting it, like it was an uncommon quirk of his family. You asked about Black Vulture, yeah? Don't you know the stories already? Yeah, but those are just stories. I know what it's like riding someone with a few tall tails trailing behind them. Joseph snorted a little, still making his way across the wing with a small knife. Yep, that sounds about right. Pretty sure some of the more flattering ones I heard were left behind by the Vulture himself. You settled on the side of your legs a little, getting more comfortable as you kept stirring the ever-cooking pot. Where to begin with the man himself? Jeez. He's a real piece of work, that one, I can tell you that much for sure. He's a city slicker that considers himself a cowboy even though he hates getting his boots dirty. Acts all gentlemanlike and such, a real flannel mouth. He'd charm the pants off you if he had something he wanted. Then, when he's got what he wants, he'd jab the knife towards you, pointedly. He'd stick you in the back and twist it hard to hear you cry. He turned the knife back to pruning. He's a terrible shot, too. There's some stories that he could shoot the cap off a bottle without spilling it from 50 paces. But he ain't the sharpshooter, never. He's almost as bad a shot as me. Got someone else for that. See, that's how you run in his posse. You make yourself indispensable. He tapped his knife on the ground through the word to make his point. His gang is on the smaller side, but they're plenty loyal. They need to be. There can't be anyone else. You're loyal, then? I'm the eyes. I'm useful. I get on good with a lot of them, and Black Vulture keeps me around. Win-win. You understood what he was saying, what he meant, what he really wanted to say. You understood how it felt to be under that kind of looming shadow. No one for miles around, but don't say anything just in case. You'd seen what happens to other people. You both had, for sure. Joseph was as far from a greenhorn as could be. He swapped hands and started the knife on his other wing now. So what about Curly Wolf? You said there were plenty of tall tales about him. Split fair with me. You didn't look at him when he asked you. Kept looking at the pot, peeking over to check the beans. This looks about done to me. Joseph stared at you for a moment when you did meet his eyes, and then closed up his knife, kneeling over to look with an approving whistle. Yeah, looks it to me. You laughed a little as his stomach gave a hearty growl, fetching the bowls and holding them while Joseph served you both a big, slopping portion. Night had come now, and you both gathered a little closer around the fire and moved the pot stand to the side. You could see him easier now without it in the way. The pot lifted, the fire rose, dancing in the wing, sometimes hazing your view, the blur flitting in and out as you glanced eyes while you ate. Believe it or not, but I ain't the cookie back at the camp. Someone else got that privilege. He was clearly joking, but the beans were some of the better you'd had. I never would have guessed. I don't cook that often, but I make some mean donuts from time to time. Oh, you do now? I'll have to try them then. I hope so. It was so selfish to ignore his question, say nothing about Curly Wolf. So rude of you. You weren't raised like this. You couldn't, though. Never. Or more like you didn't know what to say. How many years had it been now? Sorry, I should have said something when you asked about my boss. I get it. No, I mean, of course you do, but it's also that when I said I was the quiet type, it's more than that. If I'm shooting straight with you, I don't remember the last time I heard my own voice before today. At the camp, I might say yeah or no, but I don't really talk. When I'm away on lookout, there's just no one to talk to. I don't want to talk to myself and just be reminded I'm alone. I've never talked about him. I wouldn't. Joseph looked straight at you. Even into you, it almost felt like. You could see the fire between you and his eyes, flames fluttering across the irises. The intensity of his look gave way to something like relief. Nah, don't worry about being a quiet one. I think it's part of your charm. There are lots of wannabe tough guys who want to act like you with no sweat. That strong, silent act. Besides, guys back home are always telling me to shut up. Not that I give them the satisfaction. I can't tell you that being quiet doesn't change things. Same horse shit regardless of whether you make a fuss. You sighed a long sigh. What words could you even use for a man like him? Curly Wolf is a bad egg. I think sometimes he was born like that. I know he can't have been, but I don't know what godforsaken things happened to him to turn him into what he is. He's probably the meanest, roughest bastard you'll ever have the misfortune of meeting. Anyone you can think of that you wouldn't want to run into, he's worse than that. I don't know about Black Vulture, but the stories Curly Wolf leaves behind, I don't think they even match up to how dangerous he is. I've seen him gun down traitors riding away on horseback 200 paces away. It's easy to get his dander up, and he's the last person you'd ever want to do that to. He'd make sure of that. Not the brightest you'd ever meet, but his instincts are keen. He's never made an empty threat, and he'll happily get his hands dirty to make good on them. Shit. Black Vulture said before he'd be willing to pick a fight with Curly Wolf, but they've never met. Now I'm wondering if he has any idea what that would get him into. He ain't stupid, but he's definitely too cocky for his own good. Oh, eat your bowl before it gets cold. Nothing worse than cold food. You did it as he said, mulling over what you talked about while you ate. Joseph had a head start on you, but even so, his eating was voracious, and he finished before you were even halfway through yours. He sat back from his hunch over the bowl, wiping his beak on his arms. He looked around some, into the fire, out into the darkness of the desert, at you. You could tell he didn't want to stare, but his eyes took you in anyway with long glances. He coughed, clearing his throat to stall for the words he was thinking of. Say, Robin, I wanted to ask. He grabbed his knife again, taking it to his wing once more, looking away as he asked a common question. Your arm. I hope you don't think me cruel for asking, but what happened? Did he do that to you? You were pretty used to questions about it, but you appreciated the genuine warmth behind his words at least. This old thing? Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was a practical joke of sorts, if you'd call it that, by some of the guys during a camp. Took my bandana and shoved it in the mouth of one of the horses. Egged me on, like to get it back. Reached my hand in, and of course the horse gets all antsy and bites down, starts thrashing, trying to get away. I don't remember much after that. Blacked out from the pain. Next thing I know, I'm being hauled to some doctor. Told me they had to amputate before it putrefied. Joseph had stopped preening at this point, looking at you with some real watery eyes and a soft expression on his brow of both anger and horror. Got the bandana back, so win some, lose some. I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry for, a long time ago. Just live with it. Bowling finished, you set aside your bowl, taking another appraisal of your surroundings, looking up to the sky and its carpet of stars. It was quickly starting to get cold, so you got up and went to your horses, fishing some blankets out for them. Looking inside the bag, you couldn't find your usual extra blanket for yourself. Shit, must have forgotten to take it before you left. You spied your binoculars in there. You took them and walked to the edge of the cliff again. You were about to put them up to your eyes when you realized you didn't need them to see what was happening in Clemency. The whole town was dark except for the bright lights prominently shining from the saloon. Saw the shallow silhouettes of people dancing, play out across the street in front. If you listen very closely, music. Seems like they're having a rip-roaring time. Yeah. I wondered if they'd do it tonight, like Bartholomew mentioned. Why wouldn't they? What have they got to be worried about? His voice was a little cold, blunt, ice cubes and a drink bumping your teeth as you sip. Out of all the towns I've been kicked out and run out of, this is the only one I'd want to come back to. Place ain't for us. We're trouble, Robin. We're no good for these folks. Tomorrow we'll be gone. We'll tell our bosses we didn't find anything, and if we're lucky, they'll just go on their way. Maybe in another life, could have gone back there. Would have been nice. But this is our life, our only one. It is what it is, we move on. It's how we live. You could feel the wind blowing behind you, ruffling your trousers, whistling past your ears as it seemed to push you towards the edge of the cliff. Yeah, I guess it is. The wind kept howling, picking up and dying down, whistling off of the valley and kicking up clouds of dust around the buildings below. Curly Wolf was going to ransack this place, even if they don't have anything. And what do you want me to do about it, huh, Robin? It's not my problem. You feel now the desert night on you, your fingers, the tips of your ears starting to feel the tenderness of the cold in the wind. You were shivering. You shouldn't have talked back to him. You knew how that always went, it never ended well. Just made him feel worse, like it was his fault. Why should he have to listen to your stupid concerns? It was your shit to figure out. He owes you nothing. You just met. You don't know each other. If it weren't for convenience, you would have shot each other hours ago. You heard the sound of shuffling behind you as he got up. He started walking towards you. Here it came as you knew it would. You tense up as he approaches, closing the distance, expecting the due anger. Closing your eyes when you feel him at your back, ready for the blow that's coming. You flinch when you feel a weight around your shoulders. Squeeze of them, too, that you expect to hurt, but is so tender it couldn't possibly. Opening your eyes, you see a thick blanket draped around you, down to your knees. You look cold. Don't want to get consumption just standing there. You know how cold the desert gets? You dropped the binoculars gingerly by its strap to the floor, now clasping the edges of the blanket with your hand tighter around you. You could feel how cold your fingers were just below your chin, almost numb. How long had you been standing here for? I'm dreadful sorry. You got nothing to be sorry for. You and he sat back down by the fire, Joseph giving it a 1,000-yard stare. Thank you. Nothing to it. Get warm. You pull the blanket tighter again, the desert chills still sweeping underneath. Are you not cold? I've been around the fire all night, haven't I? I'm fine. He's lying. You can see his feathers twitch and shiver, but he's trying hard to hide it. You wonder the truth of what he said, too. That we just had to move on. Standing up with the blanket, you walk around the fire, standing over him a moment as he looks up towards you with wide eyes. You sweep the blanket around him and sit down, shoulder to shoulder. You were right, he's definitely cold, but a lot warmer than you'd imagine. Are they making out? Wait. Wait. Are they making out? No. What? What am I looking at? Wait. I'm still really confused. Hold on. I told you I'm fine. Don't give me that blow, tough guy. I know you're not. Looks like he's gonna say something, but just shuts his beak. Suddenly seems a lot warmer. Sorry. I didn't mean what I said. I know. That wasn't the fella I've been around all day. I'm just scared. He nods softly as to be almost unnoticeable. Yeah, more scared than I've ever been. Together you huddle, bringing the blanket tighter and tighter, moving closer to each other. It smells like the desert, dusty and sweaty. Why is this so warm? Why do you feel like this? Not warm like you're around a fire, but like there's a fire inside you. Warm coals shifting around inside and embers spitting in your throat. Have you ever felt like this before? Joseph, He looks at you, your faces so close together. You lean your head into his shoulder, staring into the wild dance of the fire. I haven't met someone like me before. Or someone like you. You're extremely kind, even to a stranger like me. I wish I could know you more than these few hours. I know I have to ride back in the morning, but of all the hopes I've hoped, the strongest that is that I could just stay here. That the sun would never rise. I don't want to go back. You stay clinging to him. After a few moments, he pulls you tighter. I have to say, I feel the same way. I can see you in someone who's faced so many hardships. Someone who deserves better, who's worked harder than any of the lump suckers back where you've come from. We're a couple of queer fish in a barrel, I'd say. Lord knows how we found each other. The sun will come up again, and we'll have to go our separate ways. We don't have another choice. Just wish it wasn't so. I wish... You lift your head to look at him, but he just gives you a look and turns back to the fire. What are you thinking? He sighs wearily, like he's been asked to carry the world on his back. It's a lot of fancy, that's all. It's not realistic. You look at him curiously, catching his eyes. He looks at you almost for approval before he thinks about what he wants to say. Wish we could run away. That's it, the two of us, far away from everyone and everything. Ride east till we know no one's chasing us. Sounds nice. You both cuddle for a little while longer, sitting close and resting your heads together. Okay, that's what this is. The thoughts of running away take over in your mind. Is that what you want? So if you could read your mind, Joseph asked. What do you want to do? You thought more. No one had ever really asked you that. Even so, you knew what you wanted to say. I'm tired of running, Joseph. I want to fight. I want to kill Curly Wolf. Really? It's the only way I can think to be free of him. You know as well as I do, you don't get to just up and leave. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to be free of Black Vulture too, but do you think that's something you could do? Kill him? I can't do it alone. Our gangs, Joseph, they're going to destroy this town. And after, if we ran away, we'd never be safe. We'd be looking over our shoulders the rest of our lives. I don't want to run away from things anymore. I want to run towards a better life with you. Joseph's eyes were sympathetic, but his expression was of discomfort. I think you're right. And I do want to help you, but I'm useless in a fight. I can't shoot straight. I don't want to die, Robin. I wouldn't let that happen. I'll keep you safe. We can keep each other safe. We haven't been living our lives, Joseph, just surviving. Something better than that is worth dying for, I think. A fight feels inevitable. We should face it. You really that desperate to get out? You nod, head held against his shoulder. He sighs, that same sigh again, long and heavy, almost theatrical if it weren't for the stakes laid out before you both. Think you're right. Chance like this won't come again. Might even be tempted to call it fate. Just talk to Sheriff again, I think, somehow, if we can. He yawns. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we ain't gonna figure it out when we're bone tired. We should get some sleep. Come morning, we'll talk more, figure something out, and then hope on a kiss and a prayer that we make it out alive. He chuckles. Ain't that the story of our lives? This'll be the last time we have to fight like that. I swear it. You both fall asleep against each other, dreaming of that promise. Praying for a better tomorrow and willing to fight for it. Oh my gosh, wait. Guys, I need to pause the game. I've been recording for over an hour. Save? Save? I can save. I'm gonna save. Oh my goodness. I've been recording for an hour and a half. I am sweating so much that my makeup is melting. Oh my gosh. This game is really good. This game is really interesting. I really like this game. I want to keep playing it. But I actually am all out of time to record this video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this game because I really am. Oh, it's so good. I need it to have a happy ending. I really do. I'm going to be finishing recording this very soon. So look out for that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.